It's been a crazy year. The year that wasn't. The quarantine year. COVID-19. Have you folks heard about this?
All I know is after all this time in quarantine and such, I say COVID-19, more like COVID-86. Get it out of here. 86 it. It's from diners. Like 86 a dish. It means they're out of it.
I was already socially distancing. It's called being a wallflower at a party.
It's called being an introvert.
I was already wearing a mask. Haven't finished this one yet.
We were already wearing a mask. So think about it. All of us.
The mask that society forces us
If you
to
ask
wear.
me, the human race is already a virus.
That's true. That's actually
It's
true.
freaking gonorrhea.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
This is the year that was canceled.
Literally.
Yo.
The SJW this time is the universe.
I gotta say though, I do enjoy the idea of imagining people's 5-year look back on Facebook photos. It's like, oh, 2018, look at me, I'm at Wisconsin Dells. 2019, oh, look at me, I'm at Disneyland. 2020, here's me on the couch crying.
If 2020 was a band, if all the years were bands, rewind. If all the years were bands, 2020 would be Nickelback.
All right.
Let's go, dude.
Fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
We have not.
We're back.
Dude, we have not lost even a bit of
Not
our
a
edge.
second. We're better. No, we're better than
We're
ever.
honestly,
This
better
shit's
than
fucking
ever.
awesome.
Razor
It's
sharp.
amazing none of you guys get killed by this thing.
I mean, the podcaster's lifestyle is ideally suited for a fucking pandemic. Like, you interact with very few people on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. No, I mean, things are thawing out, and it's people are going out. They're going to bars. They're going to parties again. They're walking around the street without a mask on.
They're dancing with the Red Death.
They're hosting orgies, and I still haven't gotten
People
my
are
invite.
having-
Folks,
People are fucking
Can
with no
we-
condoms again.
slide him.
Yeah, they're hitting it raw.
Yeah, that's the thing. This year was a major L for condom heads, like usual.
Every year.
Every year.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Must be a year that ends in a number, because condom heads lost again this year.
Condoms will not stop taking L's.
Big condom is down huge this year.
They're down bad, honestly.
Yo,
They all switched over to making vaccines.
goated.
Condoms are the only vaccine against the worst sexually transmitted disease of all, life.
I thought you meant children.
All right, so as you may know if you've been following us, we've been taking some of this time to out of the many places that I traveled during COVID and just never shared about it on my Instagram, including many of the retirement homes in upstate New York, Italy, India, Iran.
Wow.
I just got
It's just
Forrest
Gump
Mexico,
coughing
Will.
all over people all over
This
the
was
world.
this was a year to see the world, and even though I didn't share about it, I'd like to share some of my travel stories from the last year of COVID-19. No, we were recently in sunny Los Angeles, California, and basically, a lot of people have taken this opportunity of the year that wasn't, the year that was canceled, to get good at something, to learn a new skill, to work out, to read some of the great novels, to learn to play an instrument or whatever, and
Get really good at jacking off, finally.
and obviously, we haven't done any of that because that shit's too hard. But what we have been doing is trying to get good at becoming Hollywood producers,
Yeah.
movie magic men.
Absolutely. We got to
MMM.
get in on some of this gold rush of streaming dollars that's just gushing out in California. We got to get our hats and catch a bunch of it.
They make a movie a day.
They
Yeah.
do. There's Netflix executives whose job it is to just hit approved on things coming across his desk without even looking.
Especially Netflix. They go, make it. I don't care.
It's,
Yeah,
Here's
it's
some money.
the Uber of streaming services.
Yeah.
It's all liquid fake money. It doesn't matter. It's literally monopoly money. Let's get some though.
If the shovel was the symbol of the old gold rush, the new one would probably be a film reel, or better yet, a phone.
Let's fucking go, dude. You're such a genius at times.
Thank you.
So yeah, we've been trying to become Hollywood sickos. I mean, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be
Not
a Hollywood
partaking
sicko.
in certain rituals, but
I've always wanted to be a Hollywood sicko.
you want to be like John Landis.
Yeah.
He got
The
in trouble
greatest
'cause-
director.
Yeah.
Hey,
history.
John Landis, he should have used a condom, am I right?
Look,
I'm talking about Max Landis. Max Landis.
Look, I don't really think you're a director unless you have at least 3 bodies on your tab, frankly.
So yeah, we've been trying to develop a couple movie projects. And by the way, I was a little offended that one of the acts that was billed earlier on this very stage was called "We Hate Movies."
Yeah,
I mean,
folks,
why?
we love the movies.
It's just we love the movies, and why would you book an act that attacks movies?
Also, if you hate movies, why do you fucking watch them? Watch TV or play video games.
They make shows for people like you.
Guess what? Books exist. They're way before movies. So like,
Yeah,
That's
you know,
actually-
honestly, fucking movies saved my life.
a million people would kill themselves every day if it wasn't for movies. That's why Hollywood makes one movie a day.
If wanting to live in the Tinseltown fantasy land makes you wrong, I don't want to be right. I want to live in their land, eating popcorn, saying hello to a dancing hot dog.
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby and have ourselves a treat. And I think maybe an upcoming secondary podcast project for me will be something called "I Hate Books."
Yeah, fuck that shit.
No, yeah.
For nerds.
I hate books.
Steven Spielberg once said, "Movies are the sparkle of life."
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if he said that, but I think he would say that.
The idea for the Holocaust came from a book, My Life by Hitler. And the solution to the Holocaust, the thing that prevented it from happening again, was a little movie called The List by Steven Spielberg.
Think about it.
So, what we're going to do for you today is we've got a couple. We're going to give you like our live streaming audience, hopefully some of you are Hollywood producers. You have a distribution company. You're an executive at Warner Brothers, Paramount, MGM,
Please,
Disney.
if you're laying in bed with like 12 supermodels and you're enjoying this,
Yeah.
please contact Chapo.
Yeah. If you are using David Geffen's Lord Vessel,
But we're also going to be running it by Andrew here. He's going to stand in for a Hollywood producer. He's going to.
Well,
we're going to
yeah,
ask him,
wait, who?
okay, if you were a coked up pedophile whose job it was to greenlight Hollywood projects,
If I
what
was
would
that.
you, if you were, what would you say about ours? So we want your actual opinion. Get in
we're
that
gonna
mind
have sort
space and then give us the feedback.
We
There
have-
might be a few things I have to do, and I don't know if I can do them.
Well, we're going to share with you now, basically give you exclusive access to 2 upcoming Chapo movie projects. So we have 2 movies that we're going to share with you. Well, first of all, we're going to pitch you a deck to Andrew here. I call Andrew the script doctor, the script wizard. We're going to have sort of a live kind of like ideas sesh and like writing style scenario, sort of the Chapo writers room, a peek behind the veil, and we're going to pitch. We have 2 projects here. The first is an original idea for an action film. And by the way, by me saying it's an original idea means that it is copyrighted.
Yeah, you cannot steal
So,
this
Yeah.
shit.
if you're watching this right
Because-
now, you can enjoy the ideas.
So
you can
you
produce
guys are
them.
pitching that to me first.
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so we have our first idea is a
Get serious.
It's a deck we've created, which is it's a deck is that's
Hollywood talk.
That's an industry term for PowerPoint presentation.
Yes. You pay
Yeah.
people to make them to present your project to an executive, so they can understand it because they have the brains of children.
So you need a lot of
You need visual aids. You need
Yeah.
things guiding them through because they're not going to get it themselves. So just take your IQ and just tile it down by 25%.
Sure.
Just replace that with cocaine.
So yeah, like the first project that we created a deck for is based on an original idea that Felix had
Yeah.
when he was twisted off pure Mio. He was
squirting that shit in.
he'd been up for 36 hours just freebasing Mio, and he came up with, I think, an idea that's pretty special. And
I'm honestly excited.
I
about
honestly
it.
Yeah.
with no bullshit, I want to get this movie made.
I think we're going to do it honestly. I think it's a medium-term project we're going to pursue.
Yeah, this is legitimately a very cool idea. When we
Paul
were
W.S. Anderson needs to pick this up.
yeah.
He'd do great with it.
You know, he is exactly the kind of director that I'm thinking that we
Absolutely.
need for this movie.
Somebody without a brain in their head.
but
if you have only directed music videos, please contact us.
Do we have sound effects? What's going on? Oh, we have crowd feedback. Oh
Yeah,
my
we
god!
got- okay.
It's like we're performing for a chorus of ghosts.
It's just it sounds like one of our fans is just alone in their house jacking off listening to us.
It's like we're playing for the crowd that was killed in this theater in the great like circus fire of 1921. Like, oh yes, this used to be a Nickelodeon, and one day a young man who was pleasuring himself kicked over a lantern, and over 50 people were trampled on the way to the exits, and they're all here tonight.
It's almost as if we're being like, we're at gunpoint and we have to release this video, and we're like, if you don't do anything, the hostages will be killed.
That used to be my fantasy in like 2017. I used to be obsessed.
Just in 2017, that was your fantasy.
No, my fantasy in 2017 was like the idea of me stopping a mass shooting that's also a live
so
podcast.
You're just Gerard Butler.
I think we get yeah.
So okay, it's like I'm thinking like Paul W.S. Anderson is like the kind of director I'm thinking for this, but this is very crucial, and like fans of the show will know that this is a point in contract negotiations that I will get written in my own blood, because it's like the most important part of this project is whoever makes it is like legally, they will be legally required
Honestly,
to
dude,
use
we
all
walk.
squibs.
We're not Yep.
All squibs and all like
All
blank
practical effects.
ammunitions.
Blank ammo, real guns. I know that it costs money. I know you need fucking union grips and shit, and I know it costs insurance. But you're not getting the property unless you sign off on it.
done the research.
We can get fucking Domino's instead of the craft service table. We can save money elsewhere. We're not saving money on squibs and fucking guns.
We have all the secrets that will bring down all the Hollywood unions.
Yes.
And speaking of Domino's Pizza, I was thinking maybe we could get the CEO of Domino's to contribute to this because of our anti-condom message as
Yes.
well.
Yes. This
Absolutely.
is an anti-condom movie.
He'll give us a bunch of Nilla wafers. What the fuck is going on? That's not clapping.
That guy, yeah,
Is that the intro to Sympathy for the Devil? What was happening?
Okay. So just
Ignore
by,
them, Matt. They're not real.
What if I told you there wasn't a crowd here today?
Oh yeah, we should start.
You
we
think
should,
that's
An
applause you're
illusion,
hearing?
Matt.
we
They
should
cannot
start
touch you.
gaslighting Matt and be like, I don't know what sound you're
I'm
talking about.
taking the blue pill, by the way. When Morpheus offered it to me, I'm just taking the blue pill, no questions asked.
Okay, so
Throwing on me
Thank you, fellow soy boy. It's like talking to Zelda Rubinstein in Poltergeist. Okay, where's Carol Ann?
okay, so like I'm gonna begin the pitch this way, and I'm gonna do it in like classic Hollywood style. I'm just gonna be okay. There's a first scene here. Fade in.
Yeah.
White House, Oval Office, circa January 1991.
Yep.
And imagine seeing this. It's the White House Oval Office, and behind the Resolute desk, you have George H.W. Bush, and in the room is his war cabinet. This is at the very beginning of the Gulf War, and he's got Colin Powell, Dick Cheney.
They're
He's got
cooking up
He's got
Operation
James
Desert
Baker in
Storm.
there.
Yeah.
They're like, it's going splendidly. We're gonna get him out of Kuwait. And so that they're having a cabinet meeting about the Gulf War, and they're very excited for how good it's going to go and how they're gonna roll back Saddam, and they're gonna kick some ass and take some names. Okay, so like everything's going normally. Then of course Poppy H.W. Bush dismisses the cabinet. They shake his hands. They go, "Very proud to serve you, Mr. President." They all file out of the Oval Office. Left in the Oval Office is a single Secret Service agent. H.W. turns to the Secret Service agent and said, very good to see you again, Harold. But I won't be needing you anymore for tonight. Just gonna spend some time by myself in the Oval Office. He goes, thank you, sir. He leaves the room. George H.W. Bush is left alone in the Oval Office, and then you hear like a whoosh of like a hermetically sealed door. Like you can't even see it. It's like whoosh, and it's just like a secret door in the Oval Office opens, and like there's like sort of like mist rising out of it. Like a secret door opens. Out of that door, and like a glass box behind the door, steps George H.W. Bush.
What?
How could that be?
Yeah, there's only one of them to my knowledge.
There are two George W. Bush. The George W. Bush behind the Resolute desk looks at his duplicate, who has just walked out of the secret door in the Oval Office, and says, "Always a pleasure to serve you, George." the H.W. Bush that walks out of the closet of the secret door in the White House takes out a gun and shoots the George H.W. Bush in straight through the forehead.
Booyah!
Yeah.
Just domes him in the Oval Office.
Credits.
Yeah,
And then credits, it's like smash jump to the credits, loop jumper.
Loop jumper.
Loop jumper.
Loop jumper.
in order to kill the past, you must kill yourself.
That is
Yes.
the tagline for this movie.
It's about quantum suicide powered time travel.
We're gonna get into this, but like let's just take a moment, like to just drink in that movie poster there.
this.
Look at
Beautiful.
Look at this.
And, you know, like you see a little bit of the past. You see a little bit of the past. You'll be seeing a lot more of the past in this movie, but you see a little bit of the cast. We're going to go through our characters, our casting choices, and take you through like a nice tight 3-act structure to this film. So, loop jumper. In order to kill the past, you must kill yourself.
We have to note, though, that it has alternative titles for
Yes.
different markets.
That's
Yes.
very true.
So in China, it will be called Sergeant Time. Mm-hmm. And I know that Chinese are like no time travel, but we're negotiable on the time travel.
Yeah, no, that's not important. The one thing we're not negotiable on, I mean, you'll see. Hint: no condom.
Yeah.
In
That's
France,
no negotiation.
in France, you know, English is very en vogue. This movie will be called Clocksuckers.
But like we're willing to, like I said, change or censor any amount of the plot in order for the Chinese
Absolutely.
BO. Because like that's more important than anything
Yeah.
these days.
I just want to bathe in a renminbis.
I mean, like even though time travel is basically the key core concept in this movie, I'd be willing to
We can work with
make
it.
some
I don't
edits
care.
around
Yeah.
it, so it's just like there is no time travel in the movie. But like whatever China wants, we'll
throw
do
a
the front.
leprechaun in there, whatever you need.
Yeah,
So,
we don't care.
Sergeant Time. So like, all right, let's take it through here.
Well, I quite like it, boys. Like, what you have the juice of it to show to me.
All right, we're gonna throw some juice out at you right now.
All right, I'll drink it right up.
So look, another little headline for you. It's like from the grim and brutal minds of Chapo Trap House comes Tenant, but it doesn't suck.
Yeah, good tenant, we'll call it.
Okay, so
I like Tenant.
here's what you need to know about.
Is this better?
It's better
This
than
is
tenant.
This is
1,000 times
this is
better,
1,000
sir.
times
It's
better than
tenant on freaking crack.
Yeah.
I like
Literally.
crack.
Yeah.
Could you? I know you love Tenet, sir, and I totally agree with you. I don't agree with what these guys are saying, and if you want to just make a deal with me, that's fine. But do you think anyone in Ohio is wearing a Tenet T-shirt?
Absolutely. We distributed them there for free during all of the screenings, even during COVID-19.
So again, for the Hollywood executives out there, the title of the movie is Loop Jumper.
Yeah.
So like a loop jumper is about loop jumping.
Yes.
What is loop jumping? Loop jumping is quantum suicide, and you'll notice I spelled suicide with $3 because the more quantum suicide is in the movie, that's BOFO. That's
Yeah.
money in the bank right there.
Demographics of film viewers, they're all different. They want different things. They want to see different characters. They want to see different themes. They have different ideas of what they want to see represented on screen. The one thing they all want to do is commit quantum suicide.
Suicide. Every single person on Earth. Number one desire is to commit quantum suicide.
Childless people with one Jewish grandparent, the second highest growing demographic. NASCAR moms, soccer dads, evil stepdads,
Yep.
stepmoms who get caught in dryers. They all want to commit quantum suicide.
Everybody's talking about quantum suicide.
Like last year it was TikTok. Like this year, like the big new trend is quantum suicide.
They can't stop
Yeah.
it. It's like slap bracelets in 1992.
Guys, we had a hell of a year. Wouldn't you love to go back in time and shoot yourself with a time gun?
Exactly. Everybody's looking around them and saying, I wish I had more time to quantumly kill myself.
Yes.
Well, through quantum suicide, you'll have all the time in the
All
world.
the time in the world.
All the time in the world. So I'd just like to underscore again the huge money-making potential of an action-based film about the theoretical concept of time travel via quantum suicide. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's talk about our heroes of the movie. To illustrate the heroes of the movie, I've chosen the
quite
symbol
a
for
nice logo.
Operation Sidekick, Shelter to Service. This is a charity that helps PTSD veterans by pairing them with equally traumatized pit bulls.
because they've both been unfairly criticized for the same crime, biting children. It's not their fault.
So, like Operation Sidekick, veterans who take care of pit bulls, they represent that everything that Americans like, everything that's good, but like tough and sort of harkens back to like an earthier, tougher masculinity, but also like like a more sensitive side that you can still pet and love a dog.
Yeah.
It's like not a lot of like like that like movies don't show that anymore. And I think people like they want more of that classic like old Hollywood feeling.
A tough but tender heart.
Yeah.
So these are our heroes. Okay, so first and foremost, the lead of our movie is of course the hardened, battle-scarred veteran Sergeant Gerald Butler,
Yes.
played by actor Gerard Butler.
Yeah, this is crucial. We
I'll
got to
just
get
hide
Gerard
my
for
head
this.
so they can see.
Okay. We're seeing him now, yes. Sergeant Gerald Butler is our protagonist.
Yes.
He is an operator in so many words.
Sergeant Gerard Butler. He is a hardened operator and veteran of U.S. dirty wars in Central America who becomes disillusioned after his best friend and fellow operator, who in this case I think will be played by Steve-O from Jackass,
Yes.
gets addicted to crack, which of course Sergeant Butler helps to both protect, create, and popularize in America in the 1980s at the behest of the CIA.
Of course.
And this is the moral complexity of the character. He did this, and it was fine when it was happening to people he didn't know. But now that it's happening to a guy he knows, then he realizes it's bad.
yeah.
That's
and
when
that's
it's
like, there's no
personable.
good guy or bad guy in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, second lead, as you may have already saw on the poster, is a rogue deep state quantum scientist, Dr. Q Lazarus, played by, of course, Mickey Rourke.
The incomparable Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
No one else can do this.
And I
Not a
think
lot.
yeah.
You know, and like that's the thing is like not a lot of people are putting Mickey Rourke in movies today, and I'm saying we're bringing him back. Darren Aronofsky brought him back in The Wrestler. We're bringing him back in Loop Jump.
I
We
like
can buy
Mickey
him
Rourke
low.
as a pure sex symbol.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's a sex
Yes,
guy.
sir.
We love him.
Mickey Rourke, he for too long in the last decade has been relegated to direct DVD movies called like The Dishwasher. He needs to be in a big budget item like this. America is thirsting for him.
Okay, so there's a lot of there's some backstory here about time travel quantum scientist Dr. Q Lazarus. So basically, this guy is a deep like Black Ops Area 51 fucking like kicked out of Fermi Lab, UFO skunkworks or whatever. He's been working with paperclip scientists for like his entire career to continue what is essentially Nazi concentration camp experiments, trying to open up portals to other dimensions. And he is the inventor of loop jumping, also known as time travel. This was the accidental byproduct of when he also helped invent crack cocaine. Because with like pure base form cocaine, they gained the godlike confidence
Exactly.
to believe that time travel was possible,
Yes.
but also this is the most important part, not just believe it's possible, but to be so coked up and like fucking like into the idea that you don't care about all of the logical paradoxes
Exactly.
that come
No,
along with
yes.
time travel. Time travel is not possible if you think about time travel.
It is using cocaine to fuel your brain into just overrunning all of its limitations on the question of quantum suicide and time travel. If you believe in it hard enough, it will work.
So
but if there's
essentially-
any self-doubt, if there's any kind of question of the self, if your brain slows down at all, it won't work, which is where the cocaine comes in.
Essentially, if you're high enough, you say, I can do this right now, and you can continue to leap off your balcony.
Precisely.
And that's, yeah.
Into
no-
back in time.
Yep. Yes, back in time.
yes,
Oh,
sir.
I would enjoy that very much.
Who wouldn't?
Sir, I mean, think about, I'm guessing your favorite intellectual property in the world, Assassin's Creed. Same idea.
Very
Yes.
much so. All things are permission.
Sir, it's so great to meet a fellow fan. Do you want to repeat the Assassin's Creed with me? The government is lying.
The government is lying.
All things are possible.
All things are possible.
I'm lying.
Now you got me there. I know that's not the line. That's how you know I'm a true fan.
You're right, sir.
Okay. So like, there's some more backstory with Dr. Q Lazarus we have to get into. He connects with Sergeant Gerald Butler directly before Sergeant Butler is planning to commit a mass shooting at a drug rehab clinic. He's trying to shoot up a drug rehab clinic because Sergeant Butler is stupid and he thinks that drug rehab clinics are where drugs come from. Because,
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he follows like people who are like on drugs. He does spec ops like
right.
recon on them and sees them walking into a drug rehab facility and he's like, oh,
Out of character, this is really dark because I totally see this happening.
Yeah, it's like, these drugs are fucked. We got to stop them. Where do the drug addicts go? That room, we're going to shoot it up.
Yeah.
We're going to
yeah.
stop the drugs.
and so he's going to try to stop the drugs and like he's given up on everything and he just wants to go to war against drugs.
Yeah.
But he's going to do it by shooting up a drug rehab clinic. But before he does it, he is recruited by Dr. Q Lazarus, and we'll get into the details of this later. But the thing is, they share enemies in the deep state. and we'll get into this. And Mickey Rourke's character has like his motivation. What the thing that turned him against the quantum CIA, which he used to work for, is that when he first invented loop jumping, he used it to go back in time to Edwardian England, in which he met and fell in love with a woman played by Elizabeth Hurley, who was dying of cholera. And he brought her back to the 1980s, and he cured her by giving her clean drinking water.
Yeah. Kind of didn't need to do that, but whatever.
But the thing is, she's a hit. Everybody in Georgetown and Foggy Bottom and Langley, they all love her because, let's be honest, Elizabeth Hurley, one of the all-time dimes.
100%.
But she's so hot that the quantum CIA demands that both her and Dr. Q Lazarus attend their quantum wife-swapping parties.
Come to Bohemian Grove.
So when Dr. Q Lazarus declines in order to save the virtue of his wife, they kill her at a key party by giving her a key to a door that opens to Pompeii right before Mount Vesuvius explodes.
Yeah.
And they assassinate him, what they think is him, but was what he is actually his quantum
It was
double.
his quantum double because he understands the practicalities of quantum suicide.
So he goes underground and has made his own loop jumping suicide box, but he needs a dumb, violent madman with nothing to lose to be his guinea pig crash test dummy in his war on the quantum CIA. Enter Sergeant Butler.
Because he looks through all stories of mass shootings by veterans and finds the one whose backstory makes him most likely to be receptive to his mission.
And what is his backstory? He was instrumental in the U.S. war crime, the Highway of Death.
Yes.
But because it was an inefficient use of military hardware, him and Steve-O,
His
spotter, were denied access to challenge coins, which were the only way in the early 90s for veterans to get jobs at Kinko's.
Yes. You showed them your challenge coin, and then you got an employment.
All right, we'll get it. We'll get into the plot. So I want to go to our villains, though. Here are our villains. This is the cabinet of George H.W. Bush.
Boo.
Yeah, but there's a couple specific.
Horrible man he is, as I understand, right? He used to be good, but many actors have lately told me he's bad. Is that true?
He's good now, apparently, according to some.
Well,
He was always bad.
his son is good. W. Bush is good now. H.W. Bush still
He does
evil.
paintings that are quite exquisite.
Yeah, he's basically John Wayne Gacy.
All right, but there's a couple specific here are the big heavies of the movie. First up, we have legendary deep state agent spooky Frank Carlucci, who will be played by Bradley Whitford. Then next, very
Both
important,
very handsome.
Absolutely, sir.
the other heavy we have here is of course Colonel Oliver North, played by Colin Farrell.
Yeah. And a real coup there casting wise.
This will be a breakout character. This is like going to be sort of the Vegeta of our series, the villain that everyone falls in love with.
Yeah, the charisma is going to be off the charts.
And then finally, the final boss himself is, of course, Poppy. Now, we are not cast this role because, this will be a purely CGI performance. Mm-hmm. This will be like Peter Cushing in Rogue One.
Yeah.
This will be like a computer will recreate a CGI rendition of George H.W. Bush, and Dana Carvey will do the voice acting to voice his lines. But the main villain of this movie will be a purely CGI performance.
So you intend to make him like Toy Story?
Yes.
Yeah, sir.
It's one of my favorite movies, so I'm on board.
It's a beautiful story, sir. And as you know, 37% of Americans can be fooled into thinking movies are real and really happening. And having a CGI,
movies and television dictate the everyday American life. They're more important than campaigns and canvassing, as far as I'm concerned. I work in the industry, of course, but from what I've seen over many years, I mean, things haven't been so good since the Clinton days, but I think we have potential to do better.
Yeah, no, and this is an example of doing better. The CGI Bush is going to sell the 37% of audiences who can be gaslit into thinking this is really happening.
The CGI George H.W. Bush is the key to everything.
He's a funnier character than we've ever
He's a funnier
had.
character. If we can get CGI George H.W. Bush working, it's the key to everything.
Because we're trying to the character we're conveying, George H.W. Bush, we're trying to underline that he isn't really a human being.
Yes.
So no human being should be playing him. He should be He should be uncanny at all points, and that's what the CGI does.
And just think of De Niro in The Irishman, but even more uncanny valley than that.
Because the
Because
real
he's
George
purely CGI. He's not just like
Yeah, no.
no, pure CGI.
Correct.
Pure
CGI.
CGI.
Yeah.
Because he is
because he's dead.
he's dead, but he's also a being of pure time.
Exactly.
And here's the thing.
He embodies the deep state.
Think back to the opening cold open scene that we described to you. What's going on there? What the fuck? George W. Bush's clone just shoots him in the head in the Oval
What?
Office, and he thanks him before he puts a bullet through his head. Like, what's
Wow.
up with that? The thing is, George H.W. Bush is the final puppet master, and he has been using quantum suicide every single day so that he lives one day and then goes back in time to the previous day and relives it again, knowing in advance all
What
of the
happened.
actions that will take place in the
Yeah.
day. He is the ultimate puppet master who can predict and indeed knows
So he's
every
the
single
hero.
action.
So he's the hero.
Some could see it that way, sir.
Some sick puppies could say that, yes.
Okay.
He's the opposite of our hero. He masters quantum suicide time travel by understanding it, and our hero, Gerald Butler, masters it by feeling it.
Yeah,
But they're opposite ends
Well,
of the
wouldn't
pole
you
of
want your
mastery
hero
of
to-
time, quantum
your hero
suicide time
understands
travel.
it. He knows what he's doing. If he understands everything about it, shouldn't he be the one who's the good man?
No, because all of that knowledge is unconnected to any human emotion, and so he operates from reptile logic instead of human logic, which makes him
I
evil.
didn't know we were introducing lizards.
He is essentially a lizard. He's an algorithm in human form. He's lost
now
his
we're
humanity.
talking about artificial intelligence, fellas.
He's the Matrix. He's a one-man
Please
Matrix.
sell me on this script because I'm not so certain.
Okay, well let me see if
So,
let me see if we can
yeah.
reel you back in here. I'm just gonna, let's do a nice 3-act structure here. Let's describe the plot. Let's describe what actually happens in this movie.
Absolutely.
So this is like, okay, so first cold open, you're like, what the fuck? The 41st president of the United States just killed himself with another version of himself? What's going on there? Smash, opening credits, loop jumper. Okay, then, remember it was when the Gulf War was happening. Felix mentioned this earlier. The movie begins, and Sergeant Gerald Butler is on a mission with his partner and spotter, played by Steve-O. They accidentally are responsible for the highway of death in the first Gulf War. The thing is, like their job is they go behind enemy lines to paint targets for laser guided bombs. But in a moment of minor error, they they widen the aperture on their spotting laser so that
One of them gets a boner or something.
so that they
Has an
basically-
encounter with some sort of desert goat. Slips on a banana peel.
They paint way too many targets, resulting in the Highway of Death incident. And as a result for their patriotism, they get betrayed and fucked over by the government that they fought for years
Oh,
just because they did
no.
war crimes. So, as Felix alluded to earlier, when they get home, supposedly as conquering heroes, they do not receive a challenge coin for a completed mission. So they come home all fucked up, and Sergeant Gerald Butler's wife leaves him for an operator with more challenge coins, and Steve-O gets addicted to crack, the drug that him and Sergeant Butler invented themselves and and trafficked into America prior in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So jump ahead a few years, and Sergeant Butler's life has completely fallen apart. Like he's been fucked over and betrayed by the government that he fought for, and is like taking it upon himself to like wage a personal anti-drug war by plotting a mass shooting at a rehab.
He's got nothing to lose because his best friend Steve-O is addicted to drugs and then dies, and his wife left him for a guy with challenge coins.
My
Yeah.
God, this guy sounds like a loser, man.
So his family's forsaken him. His best friend is dead due to a drug that he had helped bring into the country. He's filled with guilt, and he wants to get some sort of redemption.
But he seems like a loser now. But like the arc of the movie is his like going from
Yeah.
being a loser to being like the greatest hero in all of history.
Well,
It's
don't
what Joseph
spoil it,
Campbell would
fellas.
call the hero's journey.
I said, don't spoil it, fellas. Just read it to me.
Okay, so at the very moment he's like got his duffel bag full of guns and he's pulling up to transitions in Beverly Hills or something. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
going to one of those rehabs where they make you stack different sized rocks on top of each other.
It's like somewhere in like it's like in Big Sur or something. It's
Yeah.
just like a nice you make cairns and like sit in the hot tub and then do your
Yeah,
own laundry
yeah.
and stuff like that.
If you are a Malibu resident and you run over somebody in another neighborhood, this is where you go.
So
You run into Eric Roberts.
So at at that exact moment he's about to get out of his car, Dr. Q Lazarus is like, "No, wait, I know what you're about to do." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I know who you are, Sergeant Butler. I know about the challenge coins. I know everything." And he goes, "I've been profiling ex-military potential mass shooters to find the one most likely to be the perfect candidate for my quantum revenge scheme." So he stops him right before he enters the rehab clinic because he's already used his quantum technology to read tomorrow's headlines, and he knows that he needs a dumb, violent madman to pull off his scheme. They share enemies, and he says to him, "What if there was a way to stop Steve-O from ever smoking crack? What if you could take all the power away from the people who took away your challenge coins?" And he was like, "Okay, well, that sounds interesting." Then he explains what's going on here, and he takes Gerald back to his quantum laboratory and introduces him to his quantum suicide box, which in the film will be called a cat box, which is named for Schrodinger the cat. It's just a cat I had when I was a kid. I liked him, so I just wanted to name a box after him. So he explains that the Schrodinger's cat box will allow Sergeant Butler to go back in time. And he explains, this is very important, the rules of loop jumping. When you have to go back in time, you have to kill yourself in the Schrodinger box, and then it shifts you back in time. But when you go back in time, in order to close the loop and return back to the present, you have to kill the past double version of yourself.
And then you can live in their spot in the past.
Yeah, very similar to, I mean, Sarah, I'm sure you've seen this film, Steven Seagal's A Perfect Weapon, the end of that movie.
It's one of my favorite films.
Yes,
I have
exactly.
just one question. What happens if this original is in the same time as his copy in Schindler's Box?
One of them has to die. So that is your first mission. You pop out of the box in your time if you're choosing, and whatever actual version of you exists in that moment, you have to kill.
But crucially, you can do it whenever you want. But the crucial point is that you cannot return back to the present, and you can't alter the present or return to a present in which you can see your the knock-on effects in the quantum realm take effect on the reality that you're fighting to preserve or change without killing the past version of yourself to close the loop so that you become the prime and you can return to the suicide box and not be dead.
I certainly
hope
hope
if you don't kill your past self and you go back to the suicide box, you will just be dead because you will have killed yourself.
I
You see
certainly
here?
hope I don't end up in this box because I'll certainly be killed. Where is the Schindler's Box located?
This is very exciting, sir. Think about the merchandising opportunities we would have with
My
this film.
goodness, yes.
Yeah. No, Instagram side boob influencers would be able to get their own Schrodinger's cat box licensed after this movie that they could put their own, beloved little cats into.
We could give them temporary tattoos that say "loop jumper" to put on the side of their boob.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It'd be quite, it'd be quite tasteful, I think.
Great, sir.
Okay, so this begins we've established the rules of loop jumping. We've set this quantum revenge scheme to essentially to go back in time to change the past and stop the quantum deep state before they ever invent crack and destroy the world. So, Act 2, Sergeant Butler agrees to do the quantum suicide mission, and the first thing he does is he goes back into the past to a point in time in the past that he knew he took place that he was involved in, which was the raid on the Grand Mosque done by French mercenaries and Gerald Butler when it was taken over by religious extremists in this holy city of Mecca. So he goes back in time and tries to kill himself. He converts to Islam so that he can get into the Grand Mosque. But when he tries to confront the Sergeant Butler prime of the 1980s or late 70s when that took place, he gets washed by his old self because he's been out of shape. He's just he was at peak form then.
Yeah, he's been drinking and getting pissed for 15 years. This is the version of him that was just fresh out of Fort Bragg, ready to
It
kick
sounds
ass.
like he's been watching too much James Bond.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is, he's not there alone because Dr. Q Lazarus, Mickey Rourke, has seeded the past, or his as because he has all the time in the world because of time travel. He has elaborately set up coded instructions for the quantum assassination plot that he has embedded in coded messages in the funny pages for the last 15 years of Mallard Fillmore, Family Circus, and Funky Winkerbean. And when he explains this to Gerald Butler, he's like, but why the funny pages? And he's like, you fool, why do you think any newspapers have funny pages? The comic strips, none of them are funny.
Yeah.
They're all coded messages to time travel assassins.
Why
Yes.
else would
They get their instructions by reading
makes
the
a lot of
Garfield
sense.
or the Far Side of that day.
Except for Foxtrot.
That's the real shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only one that's actually funny. So.
Yeah.
Family, I did 8 years within Ivy League schools. And Family Circus taught me more than any of those institutions did. And I think it every day. I read it every morning, though I throw the rest of the paper out.
It's amazing, sir.
I know it is. It is very amazing.
So
I'm amazing.
So, in order to defeat his past self, he uses the instructions to contact a X-time mercenary he's like a little bit washed up, but he's gonna teach him how to be like a true loop jumper. That is played, of course, by the great Luis Guzman. He's a loop jumper who has been existed in the 1980s, and he's been using loop jumping and quantum suicide to just go back a few years before the AIDS crisis began, where the worst thing you could get was gonorrhea.
Yeah.
So basically, Luis Guzman's character is he's stuck in the 80s half of Boogie Nights, but he just wants to get back to the 70s half of it, where everything was fun and cool.
I just imagine him being like so flustered all the time and like anxious about what he's doing, even if he's been doing it for like 20 years.
And the thing is, like, through Luis Guzman's training, Butler becomes basically kind of like the Neo of loop jumping, because like the best quarterbacks in the NFL, he's also stupid and forgets his mistakes, and he forgets, like, he doesn't know enough to care about the logic of time travel, so he forgets every time.
Yet this is the key to the character. He cannot be stymied by time paradoxes or the collapsing mental landscape of trying to take in seeing multiple versions of yourself killed before your eyes, reliving the past, reliving all this. None of it bothers him, just like none of the things he did before time travel bother him, because every mistake, every bad thing, every baffling thing, he just internalizes and gets pissed or horny.
Yeah.
So through mastering the technique of quantum doubling, he is able to create 5 doubles that do 5 mass killings at once at the Pentagon, a Honduras training camp, and then it's sort of like a lot of this movie is just him running through suburban Virginia offices, just like slashing people's throats, like doming them in the head with a 45. It's like a lot of like long John Woo style extended takes of him killing, Contras and CIA office drones and stuff like that.
But the important, this is a key point. This is a big licensed piece of music in this. How does he get the past versions of himself to work with him? He uses something from his contemporary self. One thing he has on his past versions of himself. He shows them his favorite song, Jump Around, by House of Pain. And they couldn't have heard anything like this in 1979 or 1982. This blows their mind.
A song like that at the time would seem impossible.
Exactly.
And that's what proves to their past selves that he is who he says he is, and that they should listen to him. Because his big problem is he sees himself and then they try to kill each other, and it's too problematic, and he is too dumb to be able to explain what is happening. But if he plays them Jump Around, it instantly conveys everything he needs to tell them, which is that he is from the future and that he is to help them, because that's clearly a song from the future, and it's so good that clearly he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He has been jumping around in time, loop jumping around. Jump around is the key to everything, and that unlocks his hidden potential. Just 1 second here. So, here's a big sort of like a big action set piece that's going to take place, around about the halfway point in this movie. He travels to the Honduras training camp where Oliver North has been training Contra death squads. So as he approaches the base and he kills the underlings, he does his loop jumping, quantum fucking gun kata. It's called time kata in this movie.
Yes.
So as he approaches the training facility where Colonel Oliver North is housed, he hears the clang of weapons against each other. And as he approaches, he's like, "What's going on here?" he enters this big. This big open room that's like a training facility, and he walks in there, and littered on the ground everywhere are like dozens and dozens, or if not hundreds, of dead Oliver North bodies.
Yes, because if George H.W. Bush is the best at loop jumping because of his mastery of the concepts mentally, of the iciness with which he can kill himself, Oliver North is the most feared military figure in it because he is constantly training with himself.
Yeah.
This is what he uses loop jumping for, to become the most deadly and efficient version of himself.
And only the winner of each battle survives. And
Yes.
so it's
And
the
this all-
most
it's like-
keenly weaponized Oliver North.
With each version of himself that he kills, the version that triumphs over it gets greater skill.
Yep.
And there are bodies of Oliver North everywhere. And like as he walks in, Oliver North is locked in mortal combat with himself, clanging swords against each other.
Oh,
But
and he has,
they're katanas that are made by melting down the hour hands of giant clocks
Yeah.
and
Yes.
sharpening
The
them.
katana is the minute hand, and then the wazakashi is the hour hand.
Yes, yes. They're called the Time Swords, and we will sell a limited edition copy for $100,000, a price point on par with actual swords you can buy.
So he is able to defeat both of the Oliver North clones, or like he defeats one of them, and then like the one that's like trying to get away, he like ultimately defeats him by shooting him with quantum bullets, which are bullets that are made from melted down watches and slightly radioactive because of the radium that was in old wristwatches.
Yes, and he is able to send him into a time chute.
Well, here's the thing: like the Contra training facility is also a quantum time travel hub, and it's a quantum time travel hub that uses like quantum mail chutes to send and receive mail to and from the future and the past, which is how they write the comic strips that we all find. So that's how Doonesbury is created.
How does Doonesbury always know what the story of the day is going to be?
How is
I wish you knew.
How is Doonesbury always so funny and relevant?
Yeah.
Well, it's the quantum mail shoots, and he's able to basically like shoot the last Oliver North with a quantum bullet into a quantum mail chute, where he is sucked into an alternate reality in which the hippies triumphed over the squares,
Yeah.
and quantum Oliver North is condemned to an eternity to live where like guys are just it's basically like Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They like
Yeah,
grab
yeah,
him, and like some wavy gravy motherfucker takes a big bong hit and blows it directly in his face.
Yeah, they hold him down and put hair extensions on him because he has too square of a haircut. He looks up, he sees the Statue of Liberty. She's wearing bell bottoms.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a
give
bra.
him- they force him to wear the little granny glasses. Mm-hmm. And he
Yes.
goes, no! And that's his his
So
life.
essentially,
Yes.
he's walking around in the suit, and the worst thing that happens to him in his day is some guy goes, "You gotta feel good, man."
And he hates that. It's,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
misery to him.
That's personal hell to him.
yeah.
So
Now, this movie, I like this movie because it's quite simple. It's not complex at all.
That's the beauty
Yes.
of it. It's
That's the
straightforward.
beauty of it for sure, and I like too
the
many
thing is, like,
movies these days are.
anyone can understand the plot to this movie. It's
Anyone.
very simple.
It's literally
very
telling
easy
you how to
follow.
understand. It's like, if any of this doesn't make sense or is like confusing or distracting, just stop thinking about it. That's
Yeah.
the only way that it's good. It's the same way that Gerald Butler can only travel through time if he doesn't think about it.
So okay, like if the action scene didn't reel you in, like I'm gonna tell you something that we're gonna do in this movie that's never been done before in movies and will change Hollywood forever. We got a part for an A-list actress. You'll remember Oliver Stone's lover and secretary, Fawn Hall.
Oliver Stone.
will
You did
be-
it again. Oliver North.
Oliver. It's an Oliver Stone.
well, Oliver Stone is quite important. Don't discount the man.
Oliver North's secretary, Fawn Hall, will be played by the great Margot Robbie. The great Margot Robbie. So she's there at the training facility, and after Gerald Butler defeats her quantum boyfriend, she's like, "Oh, you killed my boyfriend. That means you're stronger than him, and I must have sex with you." What will follow will be a 20-minute full penetration scene, which
Yep.
where Gerald Butler,
Show these
Gerard
devils.
Butler,
Yep.
and Margot Robbie will actually
that
have
shit.
sex with each
Yeah.
other.
Drop that
and
shit.
just like just
That's
just
what it's
remind you,
gonna be like.
This is what it's going to be like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case,
And you
like-
might say, oh, that sounds just totally gratuitous. What's the point of that other than just disgustingness? It is crucial to the character. It tells you that our main character is cool.
Yeah.
That he gets laid.
It's also, it represents something. It represents sex. Yes. No. This is
It represents doing it.
Yeah, and this is this is one of those light bulb moments, sir, where it's like, people are wondering, how do I make the next big hit? How do I get that water cooler movie, that water cooler moment everyone's talking
That
about?
trending hashtag.
Yeah.
And, like,
how
okay.
about full penetration?
Full penetration.
And you're a studio executive, so you're probably asking me, why would an A-list actress like
Why
Margot
would she
Robbie
do that?
do a scene that is a role that she is in one scene, and it is just just.
It's an odd choice to say the least.
I can tell
And
you,
I'll
gentlemen,
tell you why.
myself.
I'll
I
tell
can
you
tell
why
you
because
myself.
because it is so brave that she will absolutely win an Oscar.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Come
This
on.
entire movie is Oscar bait. These are
Absolutely.
all things Oscar voters love, but especially this.
Yeah.
Like you see this right here? That is an ATM.
Yeah. Compare doing that on camera to just like putting some unibrow on like Charlize Theron.
Wait, Felix,
Yeah.
that's actually not an ATM. I have a different diagram of that.
Well, I believe that she would most likely for sure do it. I just think that, this is kind of crazy to do for the first time, but I'm on board because most of the time, most people don't know. Did he give her a child? But you could show that he impregnates her with this.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We
Or
could do
just
that.
something
Yeah.
I've longed
I mean,
to
like,
see.
and then they
You
could
could have
actually have a kid.
I've longed to see
that
that
sets
in a
up
movie.
a new trilogy, Time Baby.
Your studio would own the kid too, because it was made on your set.
If he was conceived on a film set during a film production, that child is property of
That's
Warner
true.
Brothers.
You could slot them in a Marvel property as one of the headlining superheroes and never pay them a dime.
Never pay them
and
anything.
also, and you can put them on steroids from infancy.
Oh, yeah, from
Yeah.
infancy. You
Yeah.
can Kumail Nanjiani their asses, and they will never be able to sue you.
You could start giving this kid fillers at her bat mitzvah.
Yep.
If you want to choose to raise her that way, sir.
Bar mitzvah. I was thinking of baptism.
All right, it's your studio. It's your
I think
kid.
you have the wrong town.
Okay,
So you think?
So crucially, after the 20-minute penetrative sex scene, the next mission that Gerald Butler has to do is he has to he's given instructions by Dr. Q and the president that he has to stop the key party at which his wife was killed by being sent to Pompeii.
Yeah. Because that's what Mickey Rourke really cares about.
Yeah, that's his main motivation.
This is his motivation, the loss of his love. And he has to break into the CIA's wife-swapping facility, which is in a decommissioned missile site.
Surrounded by guard dogs.
It's surrounded. It is the CIA wife-swapping facility, which is one of their most highly secure locations.
Yes.
Is guarded by hundreds of pit bulls.
Hundreds of pit bulls.
And this is a huge conflict.
The
I mean,
nicest dogs there are.
Well, that's the thing, is that
This is a
we've
conflict.
established by now in other scenes that Sergeant Gerald Butler loves pit bulls.
Yes.
He thinks that they get a bad rap.
He identifies
volunteers
with
for them.
them.
He identifies with them. There's a scene where he's about to do the Highway of Death, where he's like looking at some pictures of pit bulls on Instagram, or he's got like a pit bull patch on his uniform.
which, due to quantum technology, existed in 1991.
Yeah. He didn't think it was weird that he was the only guy who had Instagram in 1991.
Exactly.
He
No.
just internalized
All right,
it.
he's got Polaroids.
My
He's got
child in
Polaroids.
1997, my first child.
He's got a daguerreotype.
In 1997, my first child had their carotid artery torn apart by a pit bull. So I
Well,
don't.
there's no bad dogs, just bad odors.
That's true.
But in the recent years, I've forgiven their kind, and I sponsor multiple of them.
So,
You're very generous, sir.
I am very generous. Yes.
So through coded instructions in Doonesbury, Sergeant Butler is said he's assured by Mickey Rourke that look, I understand you love pit bulls, but if you shoot them with quantum clock bullets,
They're not actually dead.
they won't be dead. They will be sent to live on a quantum farm in a different reality.
It's quantum upstate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it'll be okay. You can kill the dogs before they kill you, and you won't have to feel bad about it. So. He kills the dogs and executes Mickey Rourke's Edwardian-era wife, played by Elizabeth Hurley. But the thing is, then he's able to finally kill the 80s prime version of himself and return back to the exact moment in which he killed himself in the cat box. But when he gets there, you need a conflict going into Act 3. But when he gets there, he realizes that he was lied to by Mickey Rourke.
Yep.
The pit bulls did not go to live on a quantum farm. Those are not
Quantum
clock
bullets
bullets.
just kill
they
you.
were just regular bullets,
Yep.
and he was killing hundreds of dogs.
And we're really going to kill these dogs in this movie.
But they're bad dogs. They're only going to be bad dogs.
Yeah, no.
They're all dogs that are already on death row.
Yes.
So in order to and he's just like, I can't believe how I've been betrayed by the government, and now I've been betrayed by this other guy I met yesterday.
You think you fucking know somebody your entire life for 24 hours.
So
if you can't trust a time doctor, who can you trust?
I neglected to mention that at the moment before he goes into the drug rehab facility to do a mass shooting, Mickey Rourke wins his trust by he reaches into the car and hands him a challenge coin.
Yeah, we forgot.
Yeah,
A special challenge coin. He's like, "What's this? This is the challenge coin. This is what I've been this is a special challenge coin," and he's kept it with him in his mission to the past this entire time.
It's like a carrot to keep him going because he runs on coins, like all the best troops.
Yeah.
So Mickey Rourke is like, "Look, I know I lied to you about the quantum farm upstate that the pit bulls are not going to live on. I know I lied to you, but it was for the greater good. And what I'm revealing to you now is that the special time challenge coin I gave you at the start of this mission is made of plutonium and is in fact killing you. But in the quantum state, being in a state of perpetually dying, makes you essentially invincible.
Yeah.
The coin itself is a
the
key
time
element
machine.
of the time machine. So Sergeant Butler thought that he feels bad about killing the dogs. But what Mickey Rourke tells him is you don't actually feel bad about the dogs. You feel bad because you have radiation poisoning.
Yeah, you're
and
dying.
He goes, oh shit! Oh damn! So he wins him back. Dr. Q then reveals to Sergeant Time that he always needed him to do the wife swatching mission because it was always Sergeant Butler who killed him at that wife swapping party. He died at that wife swapping party, and there's no other person that could have killed him other than Gerard Butler. And the person he's talking to is a double. But the ultimate terminus of his loop is closed at the wife swapping party, and he was like, actually, I deserved it because I actually did pimp out my wife to CIA guys, and I kind of liked it.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's an
He's
awful
a bad guy. But he wants to be redeemed, but he has to Sergeant Time was always at the thing is the CIA. They use an alpha bull like Gerard Butler, but they don't want to remember it so that he'll feel superior to Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan for fucking their wives. So he has to send him back to the sex party to kill himself because it's the only way his loop can be closed and he can finally be at peace. Mm-hmm. So they say goodbye, but to thank him, Sergeant Butler writes a song about his loop jumping journey in life and all that he's learned from Mickey Rourke. And it's actually, you realize that he was the one who wrote Everlast's What It's Like.
And hold on to that. Bookmark that.
Yeah, keep that in mind. So then he goes on his final mission. He goes on to defeat the final time boss, George H.W. Bush. And the last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie will be basically the raid. The movie The Raid, but on Kennebunkport, Maine, where he murks all the time bushes, and I'm thinking a single unbroken 30-minute shot of just nonstop killing and carnage.
Yeah, and there are going to be some amazing individual scenes in this. It will be very hard-boiled with the sort of mini boss characters. We're going to have a moment where Sergeant Butler, he tears through Neil Bush, Jeb, the other one, and George W. And then after he fells them, they unite. They become Super Bush. And he fights like a giant time golem.
So he defeats, he thinks he defeats Poppy, the final time boss, but he realizes after he kills him, there's a note on the desk addressed to Sergeant Butler, and he's like, wait, how did he know? How did he know it was coming? And it's addressed to him. And what he realizes in the last moment, and this is crucial because it's going to set up 2 sequels to this movie. He realizes that there was a third quantum suicide box that George H.W. Bush was able to take advantage of at the last moment to preserve himself, and it was the quantum suicide box controlled by the British royal family. And he's writing the letter is written on ancient paper, and he's able to carbon date it and realize it's from the Napoleonic era. And George H.W. Bush is now hiding in time, being protected by the time royal family.
Think about, if we can get a little bit ahead of ourselves, sir, the trailer to Loop Jumper 2. You just black screen, then you hear cannons firing, ships crashing, troops screaming in French and English. One loud bang. Cut to man standing in a crow's nest. British officers are standing around. this one man with his back turned. They're all trying to vie for his attention. Duke Wellesley, how will we deal with the flank, you know? He turns around. You see the glint of George H.W. Bush's iconic glasses.
Yep.
George H.W. Bush has always been the Duke of Wellington.
And like Loop Jumper 2 and 3 will be about Gerard Butler going back in time to to help Napoleon defeat the British Crown.
Yes.
Because there can't be a CIA and quantum CIA
without
unless-
an Anglo-American imperium. And
Yes.
so
But-
it's going through time to defeat that. And that means you've got the second movie climaxing with the Battle of Trafalgar refought with Gerard Butler leading the French against Admiral Nelson and George H.W. Bush. And then the third movie ending at the Battle of Agincourt.
Yeah, and
where-
yes. Agincourt is the biggest scene in the entire series. We have Time Samurai, Time Marines.
Time Centurions.
Yeah, Time IDF.
Time
People show-
Dinosaurs.
People showing up from both sides. You know, the Time IDF is obviously going to be on England's side.
Yeah.
The Time Samurai are going to be on the French side. And it's just, it will be a scene that people talk about for 100 years, sir.
And like,
But
all right. Anyway, so like, even though there was here we go. I was gonna play this song earlier, but like I said, jump around, the key to everything, and this is very important. In a
Yeah,
second,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I will come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
But I want to make clear here that like the uplifting end of the movie is that like after defeating the Bushes at Kennebunkport and destroying their master suicide box, he returns to his broken life. He goes home. What's in his living room? A shiny like glass case filled with all of his challenge coins. He's changed the past and made a good present for himself. And then this is very important. He realizes that Steve-O never died from crack cocaine. And in fact, the dogs do get to live on a time farm where they're cared by PTSD loop jumping veterans, including Steve-O, who is not dead from an overdose.
In the new timeline they
But, like,
created.
Yes.
Quantum Self, he is taking care of dogs, and then like him and Steve-O start a new charity called Uncle Sam's Broken Clocks. We're right twice a day. One of the cogs can break, but we always know when midnight is. And Sergeant Time, we're 1 minute to midnight. Boom. And then, but here, every movie nowadays, you got to have a stinger, a post-credit sequence.
Yeah, of course.
Here's the post-credit sequence. He loop jumps back in time to when House of Pain is filming the music video for Jump Around. And like Everlast is there, and he's in his Celtics jersey, and he's like doing something like that. and he walks up to Everlast with a Halliburton case, and he's like, "I have something for you." And he's like, "Yo, who are you?" And he's like, "There's something in there I think you'll find interesting." Everlast opens the Halliburton case, opens it up. What is it? It's the sheet music and lyrics to What It's Like.
it's the best lyrics anyone has ever seen, ever.
So that concludes our pitch for Loop Jumper. Confused? It's all quite easy to understand.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Just say,
Please see below.
The main thing is that when you kill yourself in the box, you die, but also part of you, there's one version of you somewhere that doesn't die, and it's all about where you imagine yourself being that puts you someplace. And the only thing that can put you there is believing in it.
Yeah, and you know, you're gonna walk away from this movie. Am I a time rider? Am I someone who just goes back and I dick around, or am I a loop jumper? Do I make new timelines?
And that's the thing is like in the movie, the key is also believing in us and giving us $250 million.
That's a very important part of it.
Okay, thus concludes our deck for the revolutionary action film Loop Jumper, and hopefully like a couple sequels as well.
Yeah, yeah, at least two.
Trilogy. I think it's a trilogy.
And I think we could probably get like a series about the Luis Guzman character on HBO Max.
Because the deal with him is that he is a loop jumper who is as adept as any of these people, but he's not driven like George H.W. Bush is by reptilian power. He's not driven by just a volcanic rage like Gerard Butler. He's driven by silky horniness. And that means that he can just hang out in the past and get laid and not have to worry about like completing quests and shit.
Yes.
But the loop jumper's passion for his mission turns him around and like makes him care about it, which is why when he's getting his ass kicked at the end of the fight with Oliver North, and it looks like he can't win because Oliver North is just so strong because he keeps killing himself, Luis Guzman shows up back up and plays jump around for Gerard Butler, which gives him the power, like the energy and the enthusiasm to just kill himself so many times that he's able to push through Oliver North's defenses and kick him into the chute.
Yeah, the time shoot.
Okay. So like that was Loop Jumper, a movie that I think is going to revolutionize action films. We now have this is a little bit more developed. We're going to do what's called in the business a table read.
This is the most evil thing ever written.
Okay,
I
so
like that.
by the way, so there's this is we've referenced it. Felix has referenced it before on the show. It's a romantic comedy called Push Pull. Over the last couple of days, Felix, Andrew, and Branson have been collaborating on giving you a sample of this screenplay that they're working on.
This is a year. This is years of dreams.
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
through their dark
Or
alchemy.
nightmares.
I think I have not fully read this yet because I want to go to it as cold as possible to fully imbibe the horror here. But they assure me that this is the most wretched thing ever written. So
This sucks.
we are pleased to share with you now the table read for the romantic comedy Push Pull.
I actually think it's cool now.
So I'm going to begin. I'm going to read the sort of the body copy, the sort of jacket copy pitch for this movie.
Yeah.
So America is more divided than it's ever been. Sometimes it seems like the new gangs are Republicans, Democrats, and then independents. But maybe the only force stronger than partisanship is love. See, right now we're in an on-again, off-again relationship with the truth. In an abusive cohabitation with misinformation and being left on red by unity.
Yeah, this is awful.
Being left on
fucking
red
sucks.
by
You shouldn't
unity.
read this.
Don't you wish there was a Bumble for the country?
This is
We
good.
shouldn't read this.
So disgusting.
pretty
I'm
good.
looking forward to it.
Okay, don't you wish there was a Bumble for the country? That's what Piper Reinstaff and John Osenwald find out in the Beater Hudson Productions Push Pull. What started as a one-night stand between a veteran Democratic operator and femme fatale conservative campaign Wonder Kid turns into an epic fight for the soul of democracy when it's revealed that the Republican candidate and current Reinstaff client, Richard Mule, is subverting democracy with Russia's help.
Oh, hell no.
Ooh, no,
Yeah,
no,
he's
no.
doing Russia.
What started with vodka sodas, IPAs, and sexual tension will either end with the destruction or salvation of our democracy. There will be tears, treason, and teetering with commitment. John is a single father to an activist-type daughter, but he and Piper just adopted the problem of the century. They have help, both in the form of cool, outgoing Democratic President Wallace Stumpo and principled Republican Mick Shanley. Mick Shanley. Is that how you say it?
Shanley, yeah.
And principled Republican Mick
Incredibly
Shanley.
Irish guy.
Yeah.
Together, they have to make sure Senator Cynthia Wilcox wins the presidency, despite her emails. Andrew Hudson and Felix Biederman are creatives out of Brooklyn, New York City. Both have an extensive background in shows and movies. Okay. So just go to the cast here, characters here. Cast is
cast, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. John Osenwald, played by Bradley Cooper, is a campaign manager for Democratic primary frontrunner Cynthia Wilcox. Piper Reinstaff is played by Alexandra Daddario. Cynthia Wilcox is played by Meryl Streep. She's a brassy, fork-tongued Democratic senator from Illinois who John just helped win the Democratic primary against an annoying old Jew, Senator Claude Rosencrantz.
Yeah. I did write that. That's not just Will editorializing.
Wallace Stumpo is the Obama analog, of course. Mick Shanley, played by Josh Brolin, will be the McCain-style Republican. Richard Mule, or Jackass, is the Trump analog, played by Alec Baldwin, ? Jake Muldoon is a White House staffer and John's best friend, played by T.J. Miller. And Kremsy Upshaw is John's activist daughter. I don't know. She's played by Chloe Grace.
Chloe Grace Moretz is good.
Okay, that's good.
Shailene Lewidley.
Yeah,
Shailene
yeah,
Wood-
yeah,
she's
yeah,
a little
yeah.
old to be Bradley. I don't know.
doesn't
So is
matter.
Corey Grotzbrotz.
All right, so I'm gonna read the stage directions and narrations on the screenplay. So I'm just gonna open with the scene. Interior, yacht clubhouse on Maryland docks. Is this after they first took
Oh,
up?
that's
Okay.
that's
All right. That's just okay.
Yeah.
A large party is in full swing as the Democratic primary has just been locked in for Cynthia Wilcox. Everyone is drinking and dancing with large TV screens showing the results on all of the walls. Kevin Rudolph, Let It Rock is blaring. Kevin Rudolph, Let It Rock is blaring. Staffers are letting loose and grinding on one another. Jake Muldoon can be seen taking shots from two attractive interns. Drinks are being guzzled, and the stink of a doobie is in the air. The stink of a doobie is in the,
Fucking
is in the
doobie.
air.
It's so cool. It's so Democrat.
Cut the shot through the window of John sitting outside alone on a patio on a wicker love seat. We cut to exterior to see John is looking at his phone, tie loosened and looking relieved, but perturbed. Close-up of John iPhone screen is a text from Piper. See you in November, asshole. Winking emoji. Congrats. John types, I hope you'll be by my side then, and then stares at it without sending. He backspaces and pauses for a while before typing, bring it on. Loser has to skinny dip in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, question mark, with a smirking emoji while he sends it. Cut to Piper sitting in a hotel room bed. The only light coming from her phone as she replies, better start working on that tan. John smiles at his phone before running a hand through his hair, sighing approvingly and looking out at the water while listening to the waves, sipping his Blue Moon with the label perfectly in frame. As he's reflecting on the deep calm of the ocean, a decidedly less calm force enters. It's Jake Muldoon. He embraces John from behind.
Watch out, John. Every rumchata is making that Peloton figure of yours all the more feminine.
Jake, you're the only guy I know who talk like that at a party the president is at.
That's why they pay me, Johnny boy. Well, that, and everyone's got to drink all the K-cups and show the interns all the best dives.
And if it happens to be you,
I'll do a lot for my country.
beat. So, how do you feel about this one?
They'll get over it. That nice old man was offering them free ponies, but only our girl knows how to get them.
Not Claude Rosencrantz, Jake. You know.
Oh, Fry Rhinestaff. Listen, you know me, John. One and done. I'm biased. I like to take a girl to dinner, breakfast, then lunch is for saving the country. And it's a nice to have met you, but I'll see you around. Yay, I'm biased. But anyone else will tell you the same here. It's no good. What's the best case scenario? Neither of you talk about your jobs ever because that would be helping the other guy. She's friends with people who think you want to replace every church with a taco truck and turn guns into a spring-loaded double dildo that speaks Spanish. And it made with money cut for the military. If you're out for your friends, it won't matter when you've increased the defense budget, killed terrorists, and generally give a lot more than a single shit about this country. They'll be asking you why you hate America because your beer has an umlaut on it.
Well, what if I told you she just seemed special? I didn't think about any of that stuff the whole night we were together, not once.
Yeah, kind of hard to think when your B-52 is deep in her Fuhrer bunker.
John has a quizzical look on his face that seems to say, that's just wrong. Who thinks of this stuff? Before he can offer a retort, Wallace Stumpo emerges from the crowd, flanked by two Secret Service agents.
Well, I think that's my cue to see if any girls who love making bad decisions are starboard.
You're not getting off so easy. What's this I'm hearing about strip poker in the Situation Room, Muldoon?
I can neither affirm nor deny.
Jake, I miswrote this.
Okay. Muldoon shrugs, Jake exits.
Same guy.
I meant to write John Shrugs.
Okay, John shrug, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, there was no editing.
Raw, uncultured shit.
Yeah.
When the GOP talk about democratic lawlessness and lack of values, I think maybe they're just thinking of that guy.
Hell of a comms guy, though.
The Lord didn't make them any other way. In her wisdom.
Silence sweeps between John and Wallace Stump as the sea sings her beautiful, sad song.
So whack.
No, it's
Nah,
good.
that's good.
No,
That's good writing. So, we have some pretty promising crosstabs on childless Latinx voters, single people, independent white women, and Rust Belt haven't changed. But we're thinking with the gains in the former.
John, you think I came all the way over here to talk shop? You're a damn good strategist. It's why you're my third hire 10 years ago when we thought the Senate was a pipe dream.
Sir?
John, tell me what's going on with your life.
Well, there's a girl.
That's good.
Well, it's complicated.
Tell me how.
She's kind of Piper Rhinestaff. Beat. This is where you're supposed to say that's bad.
Is it?
It's bad, Mr. President. I mean, do I have to remind you that she did the piggy bank ad?
You know something, John? You used to call me Wally, and not Mr. President.
It's a sign of respect for you and your office.
Actually, you know what? I noticed. You didn't start doing it until Kenzie left. You've always been the best at what you do. That's no secret. 7 years ago, you became a single father. When you started wondering what you did wrong and refusing to let yourself get mad at her for letting her no-dose addiction trump her love of you and her children. That's when you started staying late, sleeping in the office. You made this job your life. And I think you have to call me Mr. President because you think if you call me Wally again, it all comes crashing down. You're the type of guy who thinks about what he did wrong every time some BS hits the fan. Instead of thinking about all he did was right. That's why you're a great operative, but pretty lousy to yourself. If you let yourself have some fun, it doesn't make you Lil Wayne. And if you're kind to yourself, it doesn't make you Kanye. You're still John Osenwald.
With all due respect, Wallace, what the hell does it have to do with anything?
That's more like it. It has the world to do with it. See where it goes. That's all I'm saying. If you didn't feel strongly, I had to find out about this from the NSA. Now you telling me like this, like I'm your priest and you're Charlie Sheen.
She makes Attila the Hun look like Walter Mondale, and I'm, well, me.
I have 2 daughters. If, God forbid, they started dating, I'd prefer if someone judged them for who they are and not what they believe.
John takes in all that's been said to him and finishes beer.
That's a lot to think about.
But just one thing to do. Go get your girl, John. I've got some things to attend to, namely making sure Jake doesn't offer Bacardi to Amir of Qatar. When I get back, I hope you're not here. It's not that I don't want you here, but you've seen enough of me to last a lifetime. It's about time you found another lifetime partner. Given that the First Lady wouldn't be too keen on us opening up a marriage unless it was John Legend and Chrissy Teigen.
John's grimace turns into a smile. Stumpo playfully punches his shoulder.
You've been canvassing 1,000 times. There's just one more.
Okay.
That sucks.
That was good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
All right, next scene. This is interior John's condo at night. We are in John's cavernous yet hip foggy bottom apartment. On the walls, black and white photographs of both global conflict zones and natural wonders punctuate the walls. There's a decommissioned fireplace that serves as a display for losing presidential candidate memorabilia dating back to Benjamin Harrison. It's equal parts swagged out grown-up dorm room and gentlemanly bachelor pad for someone who's not your dad's dad. You could just as easily see senators and lucky young women being entertained here, and perhaps at the same time. But it's no time for leisure. Now that we know that Richard Mule isn't just a bloviating, xenophobic, orange-colored jackass, but a bloviating, xenophobic, orange-colored traitor jackass, some adult conversations have to be had between John and Piper. Only this is the weekend when John has his daughter Kremsy with him.
All right. Andrew, do you want to read Piper? All right.
Are you sure she's asleep?
As sure as I can be.
Try sure.
What? Piper Rhinestaff is afraid of a big, bad 15-year-old?
That's what you call your kid of yours? John, I've been debriefed by the CIA while hungover on tequila and shame.
And that went better than when Kremsey heard me say that abortion isn't always safe.
Try to put it out of your head. We've got something a bit more pressing.
Beat.
So, when did Mule get in contact with the Russians? Was it when he met Stev Equimas? Oh, God, was it before?
Mule has been a Russian asset since 96, when he needed financing for the Mule Mall in Teaneck, New Jersey. He's in country in March of 96 through mid-May. When he leaves, suddenly a single entity has purchased all of his outstanding commercial notes, despite their debt rating being between oh God and stay away. Equimus is just a bag man, but he'll lead us to Grunchkin.
How do you pull all that?
Contacted some of my big guys at NSA. Your girl's still got some moves.
Yeah, and all it cost was the Fourth Amendment.
What was that?
Piper, I want to defend this country and get this bastard as much as you do. But I think after, someone has to start a commission on warrantless wiretapping. No one doubts these guys love our country, but goddamn, we need some accountability.
Accountability for who? The victims of terror attacks?
Why do you guys always do this? Every time a Democrat raises a question about how we defend this country, you guys pretend like we're playing for the other team.
That's rich from someone who said a good man like Senator Gad Crambley cares more about corporations than people.
A door opens.
Matt,
do it.
you're crimmed.
Crimsy Upshaw, student, pronouns she, they. So, unless you're really committed to the idea of filming an episode of Real Time here at 1 a.m., some of us have to go to school. So could we get good grades and get a job so as to start working off the debt that your generation hoisted on mine? And by the way, your heteronormativity is so problematic.
Go to bed.
Next scene. Interior, CIA headquarters. Is it CIA or RNC headquarters?
Both.
Okay, it's daytime.
They share a building.
John has a bit of a problem. Yeah, he went to work with the wrong phone. Piper's phone rings. On the screen, it says Piper calling. She answers the phone.
How am I calling myself? And why is my phone background a picture of Obama smoking?
Should I be worried that Matt Gaetz is texting you so much?
You have to bring that phone over right now. I'm supposed to call Charles Koch at 2:00.
Why do I got to do it?
Call me old fashioned, but I just think it's the man's job to sort out the cell phones after a sexual rendezvous.
Oh, Mick Shanley.
Piper, come here. Where's Chingy? What's Chingy?
Chugi.
What's Chugi?
Damn.
What's Chugi?
I was hoping he didn't find out about that. I gotta go. Text me when you get here.
What?
Piper hangs up the phone. John hurries over. John hurries over on something lame, like an electric scooter or something, and he wears a dumb little helmet. Piper is watching him approach to the second floor, smiling. She walks down to approach him.
Nice ride. You hear? You hear selling Girl Scout cookies? I'm sorry.
Nice. But the only girls' cookies I scouted out were...
Makes a shitty dumb face and points at her vagina.
Did you just point at my vagina?
Yeah.
Did that just happen?
I realized that it was awkward before I said it.
So, yeah. You realized it was awkward before you said it, and you still said it.
Yeah. I was pot committed. Want your phone?
Give it to me.
That's what you said,
Don't say it.
I won't say it.
Here's your phone. Why do you have so many pictures of Tom Perez without a shirt on?
I did a summer with him. He said he liked to watch his body progress.
Points at microphones being set up in the parking lot.
What you got going on over there?
School voucher thing. We're going to put some little kids in vests and bow ties and have them get all excited and touch Shanley's hair.
Sheesh. Using underprivileged kids in order to defund public education and move that money into for-profit charter schools. That's a little cynical.
I can't take you seriously if you're wearing that scooter helmet.
John taking helmet off. I mean, come on. These kids don't know what they're endorsing.
Oh, and every teeny bopper, TikToker talking about making the Green New Deal more bisexual, they know what they're endorsing because they agree with you?
Come on, you know that's not the same. That's
Spin. Big words coming from a man on a scooter.
The doors fly open and Shanley walks outside with his security. He's waving and smiling, having a great time. He waves to the reporters for a bit and walks up to Piper and John, security following.
Piper, we need to talk. On fleek. Is that good or bad?
Oh, here we go. Sir, I sincerely don't know if we will have time for this.
Hey, pal, put her there. I'm Mick Shanley. Are you?
John Osenwald. We've actually met before.
I thought I remembered you. Charleston Cotillion Ball. They were throwing mid-juleps at me.
That's plenty, Mick. No, John here is a campaign manager for Cynthia Wilcox, and he was just leaving.
I was?
Well, I won't hold you. Going to go do this press conference after this. I'm going to try to do the Dougie. Been practicing in my office all week.
Shanley walks away towards the podium. The journalists start taking pictures. He starts smiling and shaking hands, introducing himself to the kids.
Him?
Stop.
Seriously, him. That's your guy.
You're jealous.
Come on. Look at him.
The camera cuts back to Mitch Shanley, who is dancing with the children and raising the roof while picture after picture is taken.
Yeah. Him. He's a calm, rational, and stable man with a clear structure and a set of ideas. He's charming in his own way. He believes in a business-friendly economy that is guaranteed to keep the American GDP growing. I believe in him.
He got his finger caught in a Chinese finger trap for 2 days at the Iowa County Fair. He tried to hide his hand in his sleeve on the second day. He's a Nimrod.
That Nimrod is the next president.
Oh, we'll see.
The game is on, I guess.
Speaking of games, maybe me, you, and a bottle of wine play a game of Twister later.
That's the first smart thing you've said all day.
Camera cuts back to Mick Shanley. He and all the children are now doing the Dougie.
Am I doing it right? Am I doing it? Whoop, 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 whoop. Booyah! I like you kids. Charter schools. Woo!
Next scene. Exterior, White House Rose Garden, night. It was lucky, but it took more than luck. With the help of Piper, John, Senators Wilcox and Shanley, and the 17 intelligence agencies that make up the American intelligence community, Richard Mule was arrested for conspiracy to use Russia to subvert American democracy, and it was revealed to be the subject of a blackmail photo where he was in bed with none other than Russian President Dmitry Andropov. The scandal sent such shockwaves through both countries that Andropov was deposed by female journalist Natalie Gregorov, who has made motions to join the EU and NATO, as well as make it illegal to make fake news. But right now, we're less concerned with world powers and more concentrated on the power of love. The only thing the odds makers would have told you was more unlikely than President Andropov losing Russia was a guy like John and a girl like Piper tying the knot. Well, let's just say the House doesn't always win. Everyone looks dashing in tuxes and dresses. Even Kenzie has shed her usual formless bag-style activism clothes and free Tibet hats for an Oscar de la Renta dress the designer dubbed Democracy. You may have to squeeze her into it, but it's always worth it. You may have to squeeze into it, but it's always worth it. Except for Jake Muldoon, who's wearing a tuxedo shirt, but people would be disappointed if he did it any other way. Jake rises to give a toast.
You know, I wasn't even in John's first wedding. His best man was his brother Dave. I was in the hospital with 2 broken arms from rolling a wave runner onto the shore after maybe one too many adult Pepsis. John still brought me a slice of cake and some champagne before his honeymoon. My apologies to Piper for talking round 1, but let me just say, John, upgrade! John and I went to Tufts and H together. We were fraternity brothers at Sigma Nu. He was a poli-sci major with a minor in economics. Me? I majored in beer pong and trying to make my fingers stink with a minor in Call of Duty.
Fucking God.
The John I know was...
This fucking sucks.
It's good. It's good,
I think
actually.
it's cool.
This. Fuck you, Andrew.
Fuck the audience.
Yes.
They're literally paying for this.
Yeah, fuck you.
The John I know is known to the brothers as El Jefe after an epic night of tequila madness in Cancun. I think at one point John was so drunk he couldn't remember his name, but insisted he was the boss. He woke up in another man's bed with a horse and 3 naked midgets. Can I say that? Fuck it. I live my truth. Yeah, John was a madman, but that all changed when he had Kremsy. I remember him telling me when he first held her, he knew she would become the president of the United States, and he would help make that happen. That's when John began to work his ass off as a staffer for different congresspeople and senators. He once rubbed aloe vera on James Carville's sunburned bald head, and Carville gave him a Rolex. John has seen it all and has managed more successful campaigns than anyone this side of the Mississippi. He is a hell of a DC man, an incredible father, a motherfucker, and a great friend. And I know, Piper, that he will be a perfect husband to you. Here's to you, El Jefe. Cheers.
Piper puts her palm in her face. Claude Rosenkrantz yarmulke falls off. Wallace Stump lights up a Marlboro 100.
That's my best man, Jake, everyone. Put him on a registry for counseling if some unlucky girl ever ties him down.
Let's go.
But seriously, Jake, I love you, buddy. And I guess that's why we're all here, right? Love. But just love doesn't get you across the finish line, any less than ideas alone make you win a campaign. Sure, it's underneath it all. It's what's undergirding it all. And trust me, I sure as hell had one of those machines break down on the interstate before. But no, it's not love, it's showing up. Love is all well and good, but you have to punch in every day. I used to think that meant working late, rolling up my sleeves, and making a pot of coffee so strong it would make cocaine seem like chamomile. I thought that's what would make me a good father and husband. But no, you have to show up for everything. You got to make time for life, or else it's going to be over so freaking fast that your Uber's here and you haven't even said your goodbyes. Sometimes when I talk to my daughter, I feel like I'm competing in the goddamn Gender Olympics. But I'll show up even when I get frustrated and confused, because that's also the smartest girl in the world. Hell, especially because I get frustrated. Sometimes Piper and I argue over taxes and school choice. Yeah, it's not that we don't see eye to eye, more like we'd like to poke them out sometimes.
Oof.
But I show up because I know we both want to see what's best for this country and each other. And I know a whole hell of a lot has happened this year. We saw the presidential election brought to its absolute lowest point, which makes Richard Mule kind of a bottom. We fought Russian spies, fake news peddlers, and restaurants who put vegan buffalo wings on the menus and their cauliflower? Seriously, what the F? But everyone showed up. And I'm going to show up every day to wake up right next to you, Piper. The first time we met, I didn't know whether to pull my hair out or proclaim my love to the sky. And in the end, you caused me to do a little bit of both. And I definitely drove you a little nuts, too. But if we learned anything from all this, it doesn't matter what you look like, where you were born, or what you believe. It matters that we show up, because you never know who's going to fill out the rest of your life.
Claude Rosenkrantz is beatboxing with the charter school kids that are at John and Piper's wedding for some reason.
Show up, because today might not be your last, but it may as hell well be your first.
Some Nights by Fun plays as John kisses Piper. There's some post-credits bullshit. Kremsey gives Claude Rosencrantz really strong weed, and he passes out. Jake Muldoon gets Wallace Stumpo to do a keg stand, and Cynthia Wilcox drinks Mick Shanley under the table. If you were in Hollywood and want to buy this fucking bullshit, Mado period samurai swords cost as much as a Tesla. I could buy one if you just bought this. You fucking idiots love this crap. Fuck you. Please buy it. That is
Please buy it.
Pushball, table read, complete.